ladies and gentlemen, if you're a Cowboy fan, do you sourpuss? Do you cry? Does this not work for you? I will tell you this. He was my offensive coordinator under Rexy, okay? I remember this guy very, very well. His play calling, I remember Marty. Marty was a good coach, but he could never get over the hump and never won in a playoff game. Go ask the San Diego Chargers if he ever won in a playoff game. We all know what the Schottenheimers are all about. This is an offensive guy. He's an offensive-minded coach. Is he the best pick out of all the guys they could have went with? How about Brian Flores? Why don't you interview Brian Flores? I thought that would have been a sexier hire than this one. I don't understand it. This is an organization that just makes you just shake your head. Everything they do, you shake your head. If they go to the bathroom wrong, you shake your head. If they go and get a drink, you shake your head. If Jerry Jones steps on the football field and wiggles his pants down to his knees, you shake your head, or you're shaking something else. Nevertheless, him and Robert Kraft would be great buddies. Nevertheless, this organization has been an absolute debacle. Now, is this going to be a good hire? I don't know. Is it going to work? I don't know. What I do know is you got to contend with Dan Quinn, who is going to be a coach there for a very, very long time. You're going to deal at least with Dable one more year. And you got to deal with Nick Sirianni, who has been a winner there, really, for the 5 years he's been there. This is his second Super Bowl. This is a young Eagles team. What are you going to do? I don't get it. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to trade Micah Parsons in the offseason. That's what you have to do, because Micah is going to keep opening his mouth on his damn podcast and throwing this organization under the bus. Is he right? He absolutely is. But guess what? If you have a player that can't get along with coaching and can't get along with the execs, it's never going to work. Get rid of him. Get as much as you possibly can. For you Cowboy fans, stop kissing his ass. He's done nothing. And I'm talking about Micah Parsons. He's out there opening his mouth. And Michael Irvin, I'm going to tell you this right now. If Deion Sanders was ever going to get this coaching job, that would have been the biggest debacle. And I'm going to tell you why. Because if he did that, or they did that, it would only tell me that the Cowboys will be reaching to go after Shador in the draft. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a big friggin' mistake. So there's my take on the Schottenheimer hire.
This might be a year rental. You've seen some teams do it. Obviously, the Patriots rented to get Vrabel this year. This might be a team rental where they just trade Micah Parsons, trade some linemen, get some draft capital, and bring in, if they have a bad enough year, Arch Manning, Steve Sarkisian next year, like as a duo, or do something like that, because I think he's not a guy that's going to sit here and embarrass himself, but he knows he's in a place where he couldn't get one of those top coordinators. Deion's not coming without Shador, and he's in a rock and a hard place. So let's rent this guy for a year, tank next year, and see if we can get one of the top quarterbacks, get rid of Dak's contract, and see where we land. Because they're in a division with the Eagles, who are obviously in the Super Bowl, the Redskins, who are going to get way better next year, and they have to make some massive moves in order to even compete.
Well, I would say that Dak is the least of their problems, in my opinion, because the rest of that roster is ugly. They have no running back on that roster, unless you count Rico Dowdle. And I would consider – he had a nice year. Speed, did he break 1,000? I think he might have broke 1,000.
He was close. I don't know if he actually did.
He came on late
like
season,
nine
helped me in fantasy. Yeah, he did a good job, but that was later in the season, and it was against, in games that didn't really matter, I don't think that that's the solution. It certainly isn't Zeke Elliott, who's already on where did he go? He went to be on Denver's practice squad or something like that to try to get into the playoffs. One of those types of deals. He didn't make it onto doing very much. But let's take a look at that defense. If they don't have Micah Parsons out there, Jabba, you're muted right now. But if they don't have Micah Parsons out there, that there's no one on that D line that I'm trusting. Mazzie Smith, I don't trust that guy. I definitely don't trust DeMarcus Lawrence anymore. Their linebacking crew is nothing special. And Trevon Diggs got hurt. Bland had a good year a couple of years ago with the picks, but metric-wise, if he didn't have those picks, they would say he was an average corner. He had those picks though that year, and after that, he was an average corner. And that's what they have. They don't have a lot. They need secondary help. They need D-line help. The offensive line has fallen apart. Zach Martin's going to retire. They don't, and he wasn't any good this year. They're done. And now they hired a guy that nobody was looking at to be a head coach. Nobody. There were 0 people. And they might not have even really interviewed him until they decided, hey, we'll just go with this guy and pay him the least amount that we can for this year.